you as a business owner, when you give out a gift, you on the surface you're being kind, right? Thank you for doing business with me. Thank you for choosing me as your lawyer, right? But underneath that, you're still running a business, not a charity. You want results. So what we've done is we've engineered generosity. And
so was that an accident where you were giving those personalized things, or did you kind of have an idea, or were you just trying stuff out?
It was more like kind of like an accident in the sense of we were just trying to be nice. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, we can personalize it. Let's just do this for this person.
Right.
They lit up, and then the wheels started turning like.
So is it really the thought that counts, or is it the value that you're delivering? We're here with Jordan Bruce.
Yep.
Jordan, thank you for being our first guest on the podcast.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, and I've never met you before, so this is the first time, but I've met your wife, Kiersten.
Yes.
And you and Kiersten own a business called Thankful Gifts. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Thankful. We shorthanded it for Thankful. That's right. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So tell us about Thankful Gifts. What is it?
Yeah.
What is the business?
So Thankful is about premium personalized gifts that are results based, because like you have a lot of gift basket companies who will engrave tumblers and engrave products for client gifts, but that's all they do. Like once the basket is sent out and mailed, great, they love it, but then what happens? It's basically almost like a Christmas gift at that point. It's like, oh, that's a nice thing to have, but we actually have a results-based model because the person, the buyer, our customer, wants something out of the transaction and not just that, oh, that was so nice, thank you. So we promise in our business that every gift sent out will get a 5-star review guaranteed, or we give our money back to the customer.
Oh, wow.
The reason why we do this is because, unfortunately, in the market right now, people have been burned by gifting, or in the current kind of social climate, people don't want to gift.
So when you say burned by gifting, what do you mean? Is it other companies that do similar things to you that are not delivering results, or how are they getting burned?
Yeah, they're getting burned because either they're getting poor gifts, so they're just getting swag. Swag to us is just your logo on a piece of tumbler or a gift or something. It's not something that is personalized to them, but they only know swag. They only know this way. But then when they pay all this money and they don't get new leads, they don't get referrals, they don't get 5-star reviews, then after a while, it's like, why am I paying for this?
Hold on a second. So you're saying if I give out tumblers with Parisi Law Firm on them, I'm not going to get results from that? I'm not going to get a bunch of cases if I give people gifts with my logo on it?
I'm going to tell you why. You're not going to get the same results. So it's just like if I go to the gym 5 days a week, every week consistently, right?
Yeah.
Versus I just go once a week. Those are two different things. And it sounds like that doesn't make sense, but let me explain. So right now, if you just send something like this with just your logo.
That's a beautiful logo.
Thank you. And we love doing that. We were so excited to do that for you.
Yes, thank you.
If we did that, just that, you're not going to get the same results that you get from a gift basket that we do. We personalize and engrave, because just think about this, and we'll break down the gifts that I came in with. The gifts I came in with today were personalized to you. They didn't have Thankful on it.
Right.
It has your business name on it.
I love that. Yeah.
How did that connect at a personal level versus if I came in with my blue, because we're blue, and my everything? How would that connect with you as a business owner?
Oh, yeah. I much prefer my logo, obviously, to anyone else's. And honestly, I've got so much, swag from going to places or meeting people or conferences or whatever that they just go in the cabinet or sometimes in the trash.
In the trash, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you as a business owner, when you give out a gift, on the surface, you're being kind. Right? Thank you for doing business with me. Thank you for choosing me as your lawyer, right? But underneath that, you're still running a business, not a charity. You want results. So what we've done is we've engineered generosity to get you the result. First, it's just the basket itself. The basket is not just swag where it's your business, your offerings, whatever it is. It's personalized to the client. So they get, like in our basket, they get 2 tumblers that are engraved to them. A great example is recently we did a closing gift for a realtor, and the family is obsessed with Harry Potter, like unhealthily obsessed, like both husband, wife, the whole family. And so we did a full engraving of Harry Potter around the tumblers. So it's all Harry Potter themed. And then on the coasters and on the cutting board that they get, it's their family name. It's not the agent's name. It's not the brokerage, anything. It's their name.
But it's not Slytherin or Hufflepuff.
It's customized to their name. Yeah. So because the thing, you got to think about it. You're going to, like if you have a mug, that's your mug. You're going to be taking that around.
Sure.
But what happens when, say, that family is now hosting someone in their new home, and they bring out and they set their drink, the guest sets their drink on the oh, that's your name? Oh, that's awesome. Or when they're they're serving cheese and wine on that cutting board that's engraved with their name, that's a conversation starter, right? That's a conversation starter where, like, where did you get that from? Because it's not something you see every day. And then all of a sudden, that agent's name comes back into play.
Interesting.
Right?
Gotcha.
So the idea is that by doing the gift basket this way where it's personalized, number one, they're going to want to keep it. Number two, when they show other people or when other people see it, it then prompts them to talk about the person who gave the gift to them.
Right.
Right? So then they want to keep it. They're going to talk about it. And then people will ask about the person who gave the gift. And what does that do over time? It leads to more referral opportunities.
Excellent. So that's where it comes in, where you say you engineer generosity.
Yes.
So this is strategic.
Yes.
So, okay, let me ask you a question about, say it's not a former client or somebody, but there's somebody strategically that I want to get in front of.
Yep.
I want to make them a client or a customer. How, without really having a prior relationship, what can I do to gift them without it being totally self-serving? How can I get in front of that person with a gift or with thankful gifts?
Just like I did with you today. I'm just showing an example. So, I did a little bit, and just if you don't mind me saying, so like we learned that Jerry is a big Bulldogs fan. He loves red, and that Jerry also has 3 sons, and you got a pretty sizable office staff, right? So we came in today with a logo, Jerry's logo on it and the Bulldog on it for him. It's customized to you. It's not got my stuff on it. And then knowing about your sons, that they're pretty young, we did a gift that wasn't even engraved or branded. It's to them. It's a Game Boy Advance, like the old school Game Boy Advance with Pokemon games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's not many young kids that wouldn't freak out about that, right?
Yeah.
So there's a second layer, Jerry, that's going on there. When you're trying to get in front of someone you want to do business with, you don't just gift them, you think of the family.
Wow. That's awesome.
You think of the family because who matters more in their life than their family?
Right.
So if I make you the hero, because I don't want you to say, Jordan gave you these Pokemon games. I want you to be the hero.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Don't mention me.
I want to be the hero, Dad, when I come home.
Right.
Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes you look good. And when you look good, I look good.
That makes a lot of sense.
So here's the thing, like, and just kind of tying it back into like why people get burned is because you spend how much on ads, you spend how much on marketing, you spend how much on all these things. And it's a one-time thing. Like when we leave this conversation today and later we're on lunch or something and we're scrolling through our phones and we see an ad, it's just and gone, right? I scroll up and gone. That's going to stay, hopefully in your home or your prospect's home for years, much longer than an ad. And you like me for it.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
I do like you. I like the Bulldogs. I like you.
But the idea is that by gifting this way where it's premium, it's something that you will actually use.
Yep.
It's personalized. It's to you. And then if I can, as a prospect, if you're my prospect, I gift your family. It's very hard to not think of me when I'm not around.
Right. But I also think that, if my wife and kids like it, they're going to start asking about you.
Exactly.
Right? They're going to ask about you, your business, and then that's going to trigger something in my brain, to remember you to like you. And part of getting sales is your customer, your client base needs to know, like, and trust you, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha. So tell us, how did you and your wife think of this business? Where did this come from? It didn't come out of thin air.
No.
Have you always been really into gift giving? Is that where this started, or where did it come from?
Yeah. So my wife and I independently have always loved to give. I would be honest, like the reason why we love to give is we are Christians. We believe that Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and out of the generosity of His love for us, like, we are inspired to give. Like my favorite thing to do is to give and to help, right? And so when we first started doing this, it was, if I'm being honest, we were just doing promotional products, right?
What type of promotional products?
Branded tumblers.
Okay. With your brand on it.
With my brand on it.
Right. Okay.
With my brand on it. And then we would do it for other people too who asked. And we would do like hats and the typical swag, right? The promotional products.
Gotcha.
But
so the same stuff that we already talk trash about.
That's how I started.
Okay.
So
you learned that was maybe not the best way to go.
Not the best way to go.
All right.
Because I would look at people's faces when I gave it to them, and it was kind of like, thank you.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. But then, we would have moments where we would give it personalized, and then it was night and day. It was night and day of, like, I give something personalized to them that's like their favorite team, their favorite thing or whatever, and their face lights up and they're surprised. And
so was that an accident where you were giving those personalized things, or did you kind of have an idea, or were you just trying stuff out?
It was more like kind of like an accident in the sense of we were just trying to be nice. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, we can personalize it. Let's just do this for this person.
Right.
They lit up, and then the wheels started turning, like, let's try this again. And let's try this again. And as we did it, it was like, people love this. And this is doing like way better than just the logo. But along the way, and I'll give credit where credit's due, like, we were trying to figure out, like, how does this actually become like a business? Because the only way we knew it was doing it kind of the swag way, where we were doing the tumblers and then like the stuff where it was just the logo of the business that we were providing the gifts for to their client. And I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Leah actually put us onto giftology, and that reshaped like how we thought about gifting in the sense of long-term, like it put words to it. And John Rutland is the guy who wrote Giftology. If anybody wants to take the time to read it, that's where we get a lot of our, like, how it kind of all cohesively gels together. Like, we were doing what he taught about surprise and delight, where it's unexpected giving at unexpected times, and making it personalized to the person, and not only gifting, the person, but their inner circle, right? So that basically helped us congeal everything together into like what we have today. While gift baskets are like the main thing that we do, like for certain clients, we go the full experience where we can help you plan gifting per prospect, per, a client that you want to retain over the years, long form planning, 3 to 4 premium personalized gifts that help them feel loved and cherished by you throughout the year.
That's amazing. Okay, so you started the business. You were doing the swag sort of stuff that, other companies do.
Yep.
You were able to pivot away from that to a more personalized business model. What struggles did you face when you were building your business?
Yeah.
What sort of obstacles have you and your wife, and we should shout out Kiersten.
Oh, please. She's the beauty, the brains, I'm just the mouth sometimes.
Fair enough. So what sort of obstacles did you guys have to overcome in getting this idea off the ground?
Yeah, a couple. So first, it was just being brave enough to like fail and try different things.
Yes.
Because like I said, we weren't doing what we wanted to be doing business-wise with the original model. And we had to go through a couple of different name changes and branding. Like, we were just, young pups on the scene and struggling to make it work. We knew that at the heart of it, we wanted to help businesses, say thank you and to help their clients feel thankful and to like retain them and actually get results out of it. but it was trying to put that all together, kind of our way of doing things. And one of the biggest struggles we had was getting people, like getting businesses to want to change their ways.
What do you mean by that?
There's a couple things that businesses struggle to change when it comes to gifting. First, they think, oh, this is just like, a typical, like, why would I gift? Like, why would I want to spend money to give something to someone? And to some people, that sounds crazy. Like, of course you would do that. But to other people, they're like, that's an expense. I can't afford it. Another one is, like I said, I can't afford it. Like, some people think I can't gift because I don't have the money, but they don't see like the lifetime value of that client,
right,
and what gifting can do for them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is gifting, would it be applicable to any type of business, or do you find certain businesses or certain type of professionals get more value out of the type of gifting that we're talking about?
There's definitely segments. I think, service-based businesses versus product-based businesses are more inclined to do this model, like roofers, lawyers, insurance agents, especially.
Because I guess their businesses are built more on relationships than, say, if I'm selling a widget, right? Like,
yes.
The end consumer doesn't necessarily care about
the widget.
Me giving them a gift on top of selling them the product.
Right. Like if I'm a fidget spinner seller,
Gotcha.
Shout out fidget spinner. I'm not exactly gifting, but
if I'm a realtor, those relationships are real important because I want referrals, right?
You live and die by them.
Right.
You live and die by them.
Okay.
Yeah. So even those, like I said, the realtors example, like realtors, they're used to gifting about $100 to $250. Some of them who are blessed, they can do $300. But our package, our smallest gift package is $300.
Okay.
And explaining that to them, like their first knee-jerk reaction is like, I can't afford that. So kind of coaching through the objections is hard because we're trying to explain why not only can you afford it, but you can't not do it.
Right. So do you explain to them the lifetime value of a client, but also the acquisition cost of a referral, I guess, goes into that calculation as well to make it, is this gift, at several $100s, is it worth it? And then how do you sell that to a realtor and explain to them, their commission on the next referral that they get is going to blow that out of the water or make it seem like it's not even an expense at all.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, if one gift over the lifetime of like it being with that person leads to a referral that actually closes a home, it pays for it like so many times over.
Right.
You were already going to spend about $150 to $175 for something that you won't have any data on what it actually did, because my team is responsible for keeping up with, did this get a review? We actually help people with a referral intake. Did this actually give you a referral? And I can explain that later. And so when they just go buy, wine and like something off of Etsy, that's it. It's over.
Right.
It's over.
So what do you think about the difference between consumables, because you mentioned wine, versus something that is going to sit in your kitchen for hopefully years? What's the difference in value there?
Yeah. Great.
I mean, obviously they could be the same cost to, I guess, the business owner who's giving it.
Yeah.
But one, you're probably going to get more value out of, I think.
100%. So what's going to happen after you drink the wine?
Probably going to go to sleep and then wake up late with a hangover.
Yeah. But then you have, a kitchen full of personalized items that you like and want to share on Facebook about, oh my gosh, look what my realtor did, look what my person did. And then even when you're out in public, meeting people, you're at a social event, you're at a networking event, and guess what? You're going to have it. That's your cup, right? And that's going to prompt conversations. These are conversation prompters. And how do referrals happen? Referrals happen through conversations.
Exactly. You mentioned the guarantee and the reviews. Explain that to us.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'll just kind of walk you through cradle to grave on what happens. My customer buys the gift. They send us the information about the client, like, hey, you know, the Parisi family, they're Bulldogs fans. They're from Philly, you know, Jerry's from Philly, all these, they give me the deets on you, right? They give me the details on you. I take that and I run with it. I run wild with it. The more information, the better. And I customize the basket based on that. Then we ship the basket, but back up. We actually, before we ship the basket, we grab your headshot. You know, let's pretend like you're the one sending the basket. We grab your headshot and we make a premium and personalized thank you card. So it has, the front has your face on it with a personalized message to them. You know, dear Leah, thank you so much for being, you know, my right hand, blah, 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 blah. And then on the back of it, this is where the magic happens. On the back of it, we have QR codes that we take care of. We make it for you, and it's included in every basket that links to your Google reviews and to your referral page. And if you don't have a referral page, we'll make one for you for free.
What is a referral page?
A referral page is a simple intake contact form where, you know, I want to leave you a referral. I like you. I have a referral for you. And then that QR code links back to, hey, this is where you put that information in. I know someone who got in a wreck last week. I can't say much, but I know they need to, I gave their contact info to you. They should be reaching out to you. Their name is John Doe at 678, whatever. Boom. Now you got a referral from that client.
Great. And you said you know somebody that got into a car wreck? Offline, can you give me their information?
No, I'm just saying that's an example.
I'm just joking.
Oh, you got me. Yeah.
I'm trying to play into the you know, ambulance chaser stereotype.
Yeah.
If you know anybody that's been in a car wreck,
call 77. Yeah. But yeah, so that card then goes in that basket, and the QR code's the first thing they see when they open up the shipping box, because we ship or hand deliver, and they pull out the gift basket and they see all this stuff. Wow. And they open it, and then there's the card that calls them to act on leaving a 5-star review.
And we all know how important 5-star reviews are. Google reviews are for somebody's business, right? It's
the lifeblood of.
I mean, I know for my business, it's incredibly valuable. So to get more reviews from people who, you know, love you for giving them the gift is just going to drive that business even further, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
But since we guarantee the review, we don't leave it there.
Okay.
You know, I or Kiersten personally.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. I love those commercials growing up in the 90s. Myself, so either me or Kiersten will personally call your client and say, hey, how was your experience with the Parisi law firm? You know, how was that situation? How did it go? And that's on a recorded line. So you get to hear it as the business owner later.
Oh, wow.
It's on a recorded line. We drop a link into your assistant so, you know, they can do it. And it's all AI transcribed so you can read what's going on. And then, you know, we let them talk about it. And, hey, that's great. That's awesome. Hey, did you remember that card that you got in your basket? Yeah. Did you already leave a 5-star review? Oh, I forgot. Would you mind doing that right now?
Yeah, I think that's really important because just from my experience, getting reviews sometimes is like pulling teeth for whatever reason, you know, and I'm not going to blame the consumer, but life is, you know, we get busy, right? Busy. So, you know, even though I may have intended to leave a review for my dentist or my realtor, you know, a couple days goes by and I totally forget about it. So that follow-up I think is really important.
Yeah. And I'd like to ask you, how much time do you think that you or your team spends on just chasing the review?
I think Leah spends most of her day chasing reviews, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's really important to get that follow-up and to keep asking.
Yeah.
Unless do you think if there comes a point where you can really tick somebody off, or do you not worry about that? That's
the thing. When the basket arrives, because we keep up with those tracking data, we call the day of, if not the next day.
Okay. So it's fresh.
It's fresh. You know, just like when you get a new lead, someone that needs your help, do you wait till next week to call them?
No, I got to get on the phone right away.
That's my lead. I got to call them that day. That's when the warm and fuzzies, the honeymoon feeling is in. And it's a lot easier to ask somebody to do something for you when they're happy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
So how long have you and your wife been, have owned this business?
We've been doing this for 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. So it's fairly new.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about that you've pivoted a little bit.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going in the future?
Yeah, I see this going to where we become, my aspiration, like my big, scary, big, hairy, audacious goal is that we become the preferred gifting method for professionals and service contractors. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to have a lofty goal, I think, a big, audacious goal, I think you called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important for a business owner. What are the biggest challenges that you're facing now to get to that big, audacious goal?
Yeah, I think with any business, right, is when you scale, you have to stop being the guy who does everything and start adding layers so it works when you're not working.
Yeah.
And that means, like, for instance, I have personally learned how to source directly overseas labor for my administrative and back end. We went through a consulting firm first that did it for us. We learned from them, and then I've learned how to do it directly. So now I have two full-time staff members who work for me for my marketing, and also for, like, I have an executive assistant.
Okay, and where are those people located?
They're in the Philippines.
Okay, both of them?
Yes.
All right, and how did you find those staffers?
Yeah, so there's a couple online portals. One is called onlinejobs.ph for the Philippines.
Okay.
Prior to that, like I said, I went through a consultancy agent that did it for me, that kind of did it outside of the online jobs. And then after a while, I kind of learned, like, how they did it, what they did. And I cut out the middleman, basically. Okay. I did it myself.
Have you had any struggles with hiring them or training them in the way you want things done?
Honestly, no, but it's kind of like the old adage, like hire slow, fire fast. Mm-hmm. Like the hiring process, like I screen them heavily and I make sure they're competent.
Okay.
And then at that point, it's up to me to be a trainer to train them how to do it. But once they're trained, they work great and they're very responsive and they're very kind and hardworking people.
Gotcha. And because they're in the Philippines, obviously they're working for less than, say, somebody US based would. Can I ask you how much you need to pay these people?
We actually pay above what most people pay in different ways. Like, this is a cool fact about people in the Philippines. They have this thing called 13th month pay. There, it's like a mandated employment benefit where in December, they get paid a full month's work as a bonus. So what you would normally get paid in a month, they get that month's pay plus an additional payment. And the idea there is that they're so big on Christmas that is like the Christmas money that they spend on, like, they're really big into gifting too. So that's a nice little, they really get it. But they go all out on Christmas. Like, they start Christmas in September.
Oh, wow.
And so that 13th month pay is not cultural, but it's like expected. That's how they are going to provide all the gifting and festivities for, their inner circle. So we offer that inside of our package. A lot of US-based people do not. Like, a lot of realtors do VAs. They don't know how to run them and they don't know how to work with them. And they also don't understand that cultural expectation of the 13th month pay and how important it is to them. Mm-hmm. But we pay, getting back to your question. So we pay around $700 to $725 for full-time labor, 40 hours a week. And for them, like the person just hearing that, like when I was explaining this to my wife, Kiersten, she was like, is this slave labor? And I was like, no, like their economy is so different,
right,
compared to ours.
So you're not exploiting anyone. You're actually giving them a decent wage for the economy that they live in. Is that right?
Yeah. Just to break it down. So like my two employees, they're in their 20s, right? And at that wage, they can comfortably afford a nice apartment. They pay all of their bills. They're able to actually help support other family members, and they can, if they want to, get higher education. So it's kind of like work. Like here, the equivalent would be is if you were having like maybe a $55,000 job, salary a year.
Okay,
that would be the equivalent here. So it's not poverty wages for them at all. In fact, it's a great opportunity.
Gotcha. And so you mentioned that some realtors or maybe other professionals may have tried VAs overseas. What do you think they're missing as far as training or onboarding that they could take? Give us a couple tips.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I would love to share because number one, they don't understand the culture. Their culture is very like the VA culture there. Like we are very blunt. Like in America compared to them, we're very blunt. And when you're just a realtor or a small business owner and you're going 90 miles an hour, you don't have time to train. You don't have time to sit there and educate someone on our culture. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is they just kind of misuse them. Some of them, I've been told are even like really rude to them, but they don't, the person who's hiring this person, they don't have the background understanding of what's taking place, and they don't have the time to train them. They're expecting it to be like here where it's a plug and play. Right. They basically, I joke and I say, they basically want AI, but it's a human. They want ChatGPT, but her name's, Chloe. Right. Right. And that's just not what it is. And they're people. Like I recently, like they, just like how here, like the Jamaicas and the islands get ravished by hurricanes every season. Mm-hmm. That's the same in the Philippines. They just call them typhoons. Okay. So not because like we're so cool or we're so great, but because of what we believe, we do this. Like whenever something like that's happening, even if they're not affected, we send extra like a bonus to say, like, hey, this is for your family, like, or your friends that may have been affected. Like, please take this extra bonus.
That's awesome
to use for them. And that goes a long way because that's not what they're used to.
Gotcha.
But back to like how to do it. So you have two routes. The first route is like the consultancy, which is what we went through, and I'll name them. It's called Brunt Work, and they're great. But you're going to pay more for less because they're doing all the hiring and the HR and the labor on it.
Okay. And so you mentioned, really taking your time with your VAs.
Yeah.
And onboarding them well. Do you look at it as an investment in that person?
100%. 100%. If I can train them to operate at a high level, that time I spent doing that means that I'm going to get the time back. Like right now, they're working on our content for the next 2 weeks. Both of them are hard at work on it. And I'm not getting, my phone's not blowing up. My phone, I've trained them on how to do it, what I expect them to do, and how to interact with me, and they're happy. But I think that like with a realtor, with other people, they just like, they don't have the time to handle that, or they don't want to do it, even if they have the time.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah. And you mentioned that in the Philippines, they take Christmas very seriously. They start
September.
In September, okay.
Lights are up September. Sometimes people will do it the last week of August.
Okay. Is your tree up yet? Is your Christmas tree up, or do you wait till Thanksgiving?
You're going to start a marital fight, right?
Yeah, I am. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So, yeah, it should be up right now for my wife, but it's not. No. It'll be up this week. What about you guys? Do you guys get really into
this? Is the first year we've ever put our tree up so early. We put it up, I think, last weekend.
Yeah.
And the kids love it. But yeah, we always used to do after Thanksgiving. But I guess my question is, with it being the holiday season, is now the time to start looking at gifting, or is the gifting, I guess, strategy, like I think you mentioned before, unexpected times? What is better, or can you do both?
That's a great question. So everybody wants to gift when everybody else gifts.
Right.
So
if FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
Yeah. I forgot.
One who's not giving a gift.
Yeah. So, and that's because a lot of times people don't plan to give. They don't have a gifting plan. And so, everyone's like, yeah, I need to do something for Christmas. But that's when everyone else is also receiving gifts from their other people. So say if you have a prospect that you really want to have as a client, their family, their friends, and other competitors are also probably sending them gifts at Christmas. Mm-hmm. So how do you stand out? Gift on unexpected times and days.
Yeah.
Ahead of time, pre-plan for a year how you would do it. And then once the plan's set in, you just execute the plan. It's not that hard. That's the funny part about all this. It's not hard. It just takes planning and execution. But the reason why you don't want, like, the other reason why you want to do this is because when someone doesn't expect a gift, it lands better.
Right.
If I told you guys, hey, I'm going to bring you filet mignon next week on Friday for lunch, the whole office will be like very excited.
Oh yeah, everybody will come to work that day.
Yeah.
I won't have anybody calling out.
No, you'll have people come in with masks on if they got COVID. Like they're getting filet mignon.
Filet day? Oh,
filet day.
I'll be here.
But what happens if I don't show up?
Disappointment.
And then underlying the disappointment, you'll have a subconscious bias against he didn't come through.
Yeah.
So think about that. Let's flip that back into the prospect, right?
Okay.
So if I call up John Smith, who's like who's kind of a category of prospects. So you're like, I want these type of people as my clients.
For us, healthcare providers, doctors, chiropractors,
okay,
things like that.
Let's call it a doctor, like a chiropractor, probably be pretty great for you guys. So let's say it's like the chiropractor with the most business in North Georgia, and you want him to be like, you want to be his guy, right? So if you say, hey, I'm going to be sending you XYZ for Christmas, I just need your information. Well, now there's an expectation.
Right.
And what if that gift doesn't land? And and all the things, like it can go way wrong. But let's flip it over. Like if you took the time, or you had someone like us to take the time to do a little Facebook, investigation on like what is he like?
Yes.
Maybe even being like, maybe I go covertly and I'm sweet to his assistants and ask, what does he like? What's his family situation like? And then I put together a gift package around that with, a thank you card, your headshot. Hey, just wanted to say, I think, you guys are great, or whatever. That goes to him. You're getting a phone call. Mm-hmm. If you don't get a phone call, that's a heartless person. You're most likely getting something is going to happen, especially if not only you do it one time unexpectedly, you do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times unexpectedly, something will happen.
Yeah. Either he's going to love it and want to do business with us, or he thinks, I'm trying to date him or something. Is that?
So that's the funny part. Is like
where it's going to go.
That's the funny part. Like that, some people say that they're like, oh, like this is going too far. Like you don't have to send like Gucci purchases, and you don't have to send like the extravagance. But the thing is like no one expects it because it's an unexpected time. But in our culture, like I hate to say it, but kindness is not the default. Generosity is not the default. That's why when we see it happen, we're shocked. We celebrate it.
We appreciate
it.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking out for number one for the most part, right?
Yeah. So being different and being different with generosity means that, it's a low bar. I hate to say it, but it's not that high of a bar. So if the bar is this low and then your gift is here, you're wow. That is wow. They really thought of me. They care about me. And then, by the how well the quality of the gift is, also says something about you. Like this isn't cheap. This isn't junk. This person must be credible.
And they actually care.
And they
right? They care about me.
Yeah.
They've given me something really awesome that's not cheap.
Yeah.
That is personal.
Yeah.
That's something that I like. Yeah.
So let's flip it. So there's people that want to do business. Who's someone who's always trying to get after you for business?
Oh, there's marketers. There are service providers that do, say court reporting or deposition transcripts. Those type of businesses. So
let's grab the deposition transcripts, right? So deposition transcript sends you like an amazing gift basket, very detailed, a lot of nice touches in it, premium. How does that make you feel about their ability or their character? Not only that they pay attention, but they have attention to detail.
Exactly. Yeah, that's going to make me think that, they're really on top of it.
Yeah.
Not just with the gifting, but probably with how they run their business and how they provide the service. Yeah.
I'll take this to my favorite spot, Chick-fil-A, right? So Chick-fil-A, when they come around, back when they had coleslaw way back in the day, they would have quality control come around, and the first thing they would check wasn't the filet. It wasn't all that stuff. The thing that they would grade heavily on was the coleslaw. And they didn't even sell that much of it. That's why they don't sell it anymore. But it was one of those things, if the coleslaw wasn't right, if it wasn't made right, if it wasn't kept right, that was an indicator that they probably missed out on a lot of other things.
Like the canary in the gold in the mine shaft.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So in the same way, even with these gifts ideas, when you put detail and attention and it's high end, you're giving the canary in the gold mine situation.
So if you do it right, the prospect will, whether it's conscious or not, probably will have an indication that you run your business professionally.
That's right.
That you're on top of everything, that you know what you're doing, you're detail oriented.
Yeah.
And you can deliver.
Yep. And the way that if I show I care about you, and then in this process I have to somehow and in some way interact with your client, I'm a service provider, then that shows that I'm probably going to care about your client too at the end of the day.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
Can you give us any tips with it being the Christmas season?
Yeah.
Maybe not for business, but how do we gift, to keep my wife happy?
Yeah.
To keep our friends and family happy? Like what can we inject into our gift giving aside from the business aspect?
Sure.
Because you're the expert on gifting. What can we do as far as just regular Christmas giving to the people that we're already giving gifts to? Yeah.
Ask, listen, do. Ask questions. What do you want? And not just like, oh, Dad, I want, an Xbox. Like dig into what about
why do you want
it?
What games do you want to play?
Yeah.
What?
Dig in. And then even if they don't know, let's pretend like your wife says, I'm not sure. Go back to what she's told you before. What does she like? What matters to her? What is something that if she likes it, that matters to her, and something that it will not just go in a drawer, right? So let's pretend that she, is a soccer mom, and then she's always having to load up all the kids and all the things, right? So my wife loves the wagons. There's the big wagons and all that kind of stuff that throw all the junk in it. So instead of just buying the wagon, have it personalized with your last name on it. That will blow her away because that's my wagon. That's our thing, So ask what they want, understand why they want it, and then do it. Actually go through and do it. And if you can do it well, which goes back to the personalization, make it to them. If you can just bump it up one by having it personalized to them, that's the cherry on top.
So is it really the thought that counts, or is it the value that you're delivering when you're gifting?
I think the value and the thought go together.
Okay.
Because you're providing, it doesn't have to be, I guess when it comes to say value, it doesn't have to be $1 million gift. It doesn't have to be $1,000 gift.
Sure.
If you don't have the money, write a note, write a personalized note. That's something. So that's the floor. But the rule of thumb is do as much as you can. If you can do 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, you can do 10, do 10. Don't do 5. Don't do 6, do 10. Because it's going to make the lasting impression. And that's the real value.
So if I don't have money to give my wife a nice Christmas gift this year, I can write her a handwritten note and just tell her I was thinking about her and that I love her so much.
If I was you, I would go through all the photos. This is a pro tip for husbands and you're broke. Go through all the photos and the memories that you have and either print them out or make a slideshow or something, and then have this is what I was feeling when we were here. When we were in, Myrtle Beach last summer, and we were on the beach together and we were walking together, and I felt like this about you. That will go over very well.
Wow.
Because it's attention to detail. Yeah. That's so personal. She's going to keep that. That's going to go, that might go in a folder, but that's coming back out of the folder.
Yeah.
In hard times.
That's something I would have never thought of, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I would say do that anyway. Even if you have money, go ahead and do that because, and then if your spouse is someone who is a quality time person, don't just, do a special event on Christmas. Go ahead now and plan out 4 high quality dates for next year. Have them planned, have childcare planned, have what you'll do, where you'll do it, and then even add in, if you can afford it, little gifts in the date. I'll just give an example of like how I proposed to my wife to give you an idea. So I had her go on a scavenger hunt, but it wasn't just a scavenger hunt. It was a scavenger hunt to special places in our relationship where we first met, where we had our first date. And then along the way, I surprised her with one of her favorite things is like her best friends. And even we flew in someone from out of state that was a family friend to meet her at the scavenger hunt. So the detail along the way set up, the moment where we spent most of our time, which, was at church together. So when she finally arrived, a video played of me, basically setting up the proposal. And then I walked out on stage and I proposed to her.
Wow.
But the most costly thing of that was just my time.
Yeah.
And an organization. And so like, if you're broke, like you still have ideas, time, and you can put things together. But if you have money, use money and ideas, like make it personal, make it just like you said, wow, take the time to do it.
Yeah.
And if you sit down and you just pre-plan it at one time, you're not having to come back and do it again. You just knock it out. Just like social media, right? The best way to do social media is that you knock out weeks in advance if you can do it.
Okay.
And then it's done. It just runs. And then you go back to your life.
Besides the social media pre-planning, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are thinking about starting their own business? And, maybe you and your wife have started this business together.
Yep.
With somebody who's thinking about starting a business with their partner or spouse, what advice can you give those people?
You're gonna fight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be ugly, but there's things that were exposed about our marriage that would not have been exposed that we needed to fix had we not been in business together.
Interesting. So I don't want to get too personal, but tell us a little bit about what sort of...
Yeah. It's one thing when it's who's doing the dishes and who's doing the laundry, who's going to put the kids down to bed. Mm-hmm. Those things, there'll be misfires, but when you're having to decide who's leading the business, who's going to be the face of the business, how money is spent in the business, how who is hired and not hired, who is, who's over quality, like when something goes out and I look at my wife and I'm like, that can't go out. It's going to be tense. Right. And so what it exposed was like deeper underlying issues that we would have never had to face. But like we've been through it and we have like a stronger marriage because we were able to reconcile those things and get it in order. And a lot of times, like when you first start out and you are both in business together, you don't have a concept of how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a concept of like who's going to own what. So you're going to fight, but that's okay. Like stick it out. One of the biggest things for my wife was like, she doesn't like sales. She hates sales. I'm going to pick at her a little bit, but she would tell you if she was sitting here today that like, even when it comes to, for the longest time, like if it was talking on the phone to anyone that it might become a confrontation, she'd be like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Confrontation.
She does not like confrontation.
Okay.
So I'd have to do it. Now she's better, but she's not the type of person who's going to sit down and ring out 60 business calls or 60, outside sales calls a day.
But that's good where the balance comes in your relationship.
That's right.
There's someone who can do that as far as you, and then she's got her own strengths, I imagine.
Yeah. So if you were just starting tomorrow, if you're like, I think my wife and I want to be in business, we're going to do business, figure out who's doing what and why. Like actually write out why they're doing it.
So do you think communication and setting those expectations is key to going into business with your spouse or partner?
It is the foundation.
Yeah.
It's the foundation. Like is your wife your business partner? Or is just
she's not.
If she came in, she is, but
she stays at home with the kids. Yeah.
Right. So if she came in and next like tomorrow and she was like, hey, I think we need to open up a business. What do you think, the communication out the gate, you'd be like, you're not doing that, or I don't think you should do this. I think you're really great at that. Like, how hard would that be for you?
It'd be pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But doing it up front where, someone wants to do that, like having it out the gate and then saving it, not just writing it down on a piece of paper and then it finds its way in the trash. Like this is our, almost like articles of organization, right?
Yeah.
But it's your marriage. This is who does what and why.
Absolutely.
So if you establish that and you stick to it, then when someone, because we all make mistakes, right? Like I've made a ton of mistakes.
I've heard that people make mistakes. I don't know what that feels like. But
is it alleged? Yeah.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly. You can call back to that. You can point back to that and see like, look, hey, this is what we agreed to. Because it's harder to argue with what you've already agreed to than just arguing with someone.
Yeah. Put it on paper, have a contract, have your, as you mentioned, your articles of organization. So how did you set up your business? Did you do it yourself? Did you use an attorney?
Yeah, we did it.
Use LegalZoom? What ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. So we used LegalZoom to organize for the first time.
Okay.
And then I've decided to move our registration agent over to somewhere else that was cheaper. It was just Northwestern. But it seemed like just for what we wanted to do and how straightforward our business was, that was the easiest way to do it. But I'm interested to know, like, is that even something you guys do? Do you like doing it? Is that a high value thing for you? Or is it a great way to kind of build a relationship? Is it like the entryway door into someone doing business with you long term?
So we do small business services. We represent several small businesses. We love it. We're really involved in the Chamber of Commerce and other different community events, and that we've gotten to know lots of small business owners.
Yeah.
And sometimes they need a little bit more help than ChatGPT or Google can give.
Yeah.
That's where we come in. We can help set up your business. We can help with contracts and leases. We can help with litigation if there's any disputes with, another company. We do all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But a lot of small businesses, I mean, depending on the size, when you're first starting out, I totally understand that, you've got to keep, cash is king, right? And you've got to keep hold of your cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to invest, especially in legal services, because it's a cost center. It's not going to drive income.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand that. But once you grow to a certain size, I think you need a professional set of eyes on, everything and helping you, especially with contracts when you're negotiating deals with another business who may be represented by an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's when we come in.
Like, what are the pitfalls? Like when someone gets to you and maybe they should have gotten to you sooner. What's typically some of the mistakes they've made?
Yeah. I mean, we see, and I won't put it on my clients or anything, but poorly written contracts can become a really big problem that don't flesh out the details or what happens if, things go south. ChatGPT can do a lot of things, but as far as the legal aspect of it, sometimes it'll just give you what you want instead of what's legally correct. Not to trash ChatGPT, I use it myself for things, but you definitely have to double check, triple check if it's doing anything as far as, legal or compliance related.
Yeah.
It can give you wrong answers. It hallucinates, things like that. So, but what I've seen is a lot of poorly written contracts that get people into trouble. And then it's really hard to decipher what was actually intended by this poorly written phrase, or, how do you handle a dispute between two different companies when one thinks, the contract was meant to do this and the other thinks it was meant to do that. You should really get those things sorted out on the front end. It's a lot easier to do it on the front end and invest a little bit than it is to litigate on the back end. That can get really expensive.
What industries are typically kind of might be the usual suspects of thinking like, hey, this will work for me, but unfortunately, maybe by the time it hits the courtroom or if they're under litigation, like it kind of gets a little hairy.
I think a lot of people in the trades could use some legal help with their contracts and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the trades, construction, renovations, things like that, I think they could use some help.
And is it a one-time or is it ongoing or a little bit of both, like help that you provide?
It could be whatever the client needs, right? So it could be a one-time deal. It could be ongoing representation. We could serve as like your outsourced in-house counsel.
Okay.
Outside counsel. It's just whatever the client needs for their business. Because we're here in the community. We want to support local businesses. Right?
Yeah.
So we want people, and we don't want to, like I said, be that cost center. We want to help them navigate some sort of these issues before it gets to be a problem.
Okay.
And keep everything above board.
Yeah.
So that's sort of our approach to small business services.
Okay. And like, what's maybe the absolute like bare minimum must have if someone's, they're a roofer, right? And they do like a lot of roofs, but maybe their current, legal setup is not ideal. Like what would they be able to say, like, okay, you know what? Like I need to go to Jerry. Like I need Jerry to help me out.
Yeah. I think the first thing is taking a look at their contracts that they give their customers to sign.
Okay.
Just making sure all that is tight. That's the biggest key. And then looking at their relationships with their vendors and those contracts, things with their employees, those agreements. Yeah, I think all of that is the first step to getting where you want to be legally before you're in over your head.
Yeah. What like for your law firm, like what is your aspirational goal? Like what's your big scary goal that you hope to hit? Like what keeps you excited and scared at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more excited than scared, but I want to be the #1 personal injury attorney in North Georgia. That's been a goal since we moved to Jefferson 5 years ago. So we just keep digging into the community, building relationships with everyone we can, and then just delivering great work.
Yeah.
Great work product and great results for our clients.
Yeah.
But more than that, we try to treat all of our clients like family almost.
Yeah.
We try to deliver the greatest customer experience that we can.
Yeah.
And sometimes we fall short of that. And I, take ownership of that. But that's sort of, that's what we're building towards, is just delivering the best client experience. So they're not a number, right? We're not, one of the billboard attorneys that are out there on the highway.
Yep.
That may have, thousands and thousands of clients that they cannot get to know everyone. They just can't.
Yeah.
What we try to do is get to know all of our clients. We give them gifts when we can. One thing that we've really gotten into is as soon as our client has surgery, we want to have a gift basket at home waiting for them. Whether it's food, because, they've got to be on bed rest.
Yep.
Whatever they need, we try to take care of that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that goes a long way.
Yeah, so customer service and relationship building is probably the cornerstone of our business.
So when someone gets into an accident, what do they need to do next? Like if you could kind of, because I've never really thought about this. Like fortunately, I've not really had a serious accident of any kind. But can you kind of give, maybe my generation, a younger generation, like the lowdown on, like, hey, this is what you need to do, like when you get in an accident?
Great question. Yeah, I mean the top 5 things you need to do. The first thing you want to do is call 911, right? Get the police out there. If you're injured, ask for an ambulance. Second thing you want to do, if you're physically able, is to document as much as you can. So take pictures, videos, exchange insurance information. The third thing is, tell the police when they get there, what happened.
Yep.
Then you want to, if you're injured at all, right? You may be able to walk, things like that. But if you're feeling pain at all, you want to go get checked out, whether that's emergency room is best.
Yeah.
Urgent care, second best. But if you're feeling injured, don't try to tough it out, because I will promise you that because the adrenaline pumps after a car accident, that you're not going to feel it the same way as you will the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So the next day you wake up after an accident, almost every client I've ever had tells me they've felt like they've been hit by a train.
Yeah.
Right. Like you may not feel it on the accident site, but you go home, you wake up the next morning and you're like, what just hit me? Because that adrenaline is worn off and the pain is now flowing. And then the fifth thing is to call an attorney. The sooner, the better. And the reason is not because I'm chasing ambulances and I want people to, call me. I want you to get representation early, because the insurance company is going to come after you early, right? They're going to try to get you on the phone. They're going to try to get you to settle for peanuts. They're going to, trample all over your rights. The things that you're entitled to. Whereas an attorney can guide you through the process. I think that's key. That's really key to the whole process is, taking care of yourself first and then getting representation.
Yeah. So say like, God forbid I get in a major accident after I leave. Hopefully I don't. But if I do, like, okay, I run through all the steps, but then how soon, just from your experience, is the insurance company going to try to come after me and be like, hey, like, we'll go ahead and, don't worry about it. Cause that's the truth of it. I mean, I've heard it. I've heard the horror stories of that. Like what's going to happen?
Yeah. So the interesting thing about it is the insurance companies, there's no law preventing them from reaching out to you. If it's the other driver's company, they can call you as soon as the accident happens, and they can start making you offers. They can tell you, one of the things I see in their playbook a lot is, hey, we'll pay you X amount of money. We'll reimburse up to, say, $10,000 for any medical services you need over the next 45 days, right? Sounds like a decent deal, but 45 days may not cover what you need, right? And that's not tailored to any of your injuries because they don't know what your injuries are at this point.
That's right.
Right? So that's sort of a tactic that they like to use to settle quickly and cheaply.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that attorneys are hampered by. So we're handcuffed by a law that I cannot reach out to somebody who's been in an accident, right?
You can't personally call.
I can't reach out to them at all. My business can't. We can't solicit somebody who's been in a car accident, whereas the insurance company can get to you right away.
So they had kind of an advantage in that way.
They do. And they know that, and they take advantage of it. And they try to get to people before they know the extent of their injuries, and B, before they're represented by an attorney who can sort of walk them through and help them avoid these pitfalls.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so what would you, like if say I got in an accident, I got the call before I was able to or thought of reaching out to someone like yourself, what would you say, like, don't do and do?
Yeah, my best advice is to not discuss the car accident, how it happened, and your injuries or anything about that with the other driver's insurance company, right? So you just want to tell them, hey, I'm not ready to discuss this yet.
Okay.
I don't even know the extent of my injuries. I've got some things to figure out, and just politely decline the conversation, hang up the phone.
Okay.
And then you want to do your own research, find an attorney. I prefer local attorneys. I think that local is better.
Yeah.
They're more involved in your community. And then you'll probably get people who can recommend them and tell you, their true actual experience with that attorney at that law firm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that not taking the insurance company's bait and then getting representation goes a long way to keeping you from being taken advantage of.
Is there a kind of what do some people walk in thinking I'm going to get $1 million out of this?
All the time, right? Because you see the billboards, you see the commercials.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, those cases where you see the multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements, one of two things usually happened, right? Somebody is catastrophically injured, and there's a huge insurance policy, say a commercial vehicle, or somebody had an umbrella policy. Because without those huge insurance policies, you're just not going to find the money, right? So, somebody with a minimum policy, which in Georgia is $25,000 per person per accident, you're not going to get $1 million out of that.
Yeah.
But whereas, if an Amazon or Walmart truck hits you, they've got to carry a lot more insurance by law. So that's a misconception that people have, but also that, usually with those huge verdicts and those huge settlements, the injury victim has been catastrophically injured.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, my back hurts, my neck hurts. I've been to the chiropractor a few times. It's usually I've lost a limb or something that is a life-changing, life-altering injury.
And then you mentioned the limits, because like, I know just for our family, like I have the one, like what was recommended, like 100, 300,000. Like, I guess in some ways, are you almost like an advocate for good insurance companies and also for your clients? Like, hey, like you probably need to have this amount because if not, like you're going to get sued, or is that not really something that you talk about?
So I usually don't tell people exactly how much insurance they should carry, but what you want to do is look at your assets, what you own, and you want to properly insure yourself and have that conversation with your agent or broker.
Yeah.
To see what level of insurance you need to carry, whether you need to have an umbrella policy.
Yeah.
But one thing I do advise everyone to look at is whether they have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage on their policy. And that really protects you in the case of the other driver either doesn't have insurance, which, you've got to have it by law.
Yeah.
But nearly 20% of Georgia drivers don't carry insurance at all.
So like, in a line of 10 people, 2 of them don't have insurance.
Yeah, almost 2 of them don't have insurance. So they could hit you, and then you you don't have any insurance money to fall back on. So you need to have your own, what we call coverage, or they might have minimum limits, right? Or lower limits than what your injuries and what your medical bills total, in which case your is underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage can handle, and it picks it up. And then you also want to talk to your insurance agent or broker about whether your coverage is add-on or reduced by, because that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah. I know, just coming out of like, I'm 31 now, but even now, like, I'm still learning about that kind of stuff. It's just not common language. It's not like we sit at the dinner table and be like, hey, grandma, like, how's your insurance policy going? Is it, our education system's fault? Is it just something that we should just talk about? Like, do you just educate your kids? Like, why do you think that a lot of people just don't know about these things until it's too late?
I don't know. I mean, at our Thanksgiving, dinner, we sit around and talk about our policy, our limits, what exclusions are buried inside our policies. So I find it surprising that you guys don't talk about those things. But no, I think I think the insurance company insurance industry, I should say, does a great job at advertising and scaring people, and but also sort of playing to people's perceptions as personal injury attorneys and injury victims as the bad guys, right? But yet they don't really explain the type of coverage or the limits of coverage or what's excluded from their policy to their own consumers, their own customers. So I think, just being an informed consumer, you have to buy this insurance, but driving is honestly, it's probably the most dangerous activity most of us do, right? Most of us aren't, rock climbing or skydiving very often, but driving is extremely dangerous. People get in wrecks all the time, and we don't even know how we're covered, if we're covered, or if the other driver is covered, and what to do after an injury. So just having a relationship with an attorney, to being able to, call them, talk to them, I think is really important. And that's what we try to do.
Speaking of calling and talking to, how realistic is that for you? Like your availability, your time. So like, let's just say someone watches this and they're like, I don't know what to do. How easy is it to set up an appointment with you guys or like a local attorney in theory so they can get advice?
Great question. I mean, a lot of attorneys, we work, our time is, our currency, right? So a lot of us are really busy, but I like to be accessible to people. So I give all my clients my cell phone number. You can reach out to me with questions. My clients are never bothering me. Right? I tell them every time they leave the office after signing up, if you have questions, because I'm sure you'll walk out here and then go home and you'll think of a million questions. Just shoot me an email, call me, text me. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to counsel people. I'm here to educate people and protect them.
How hard is that? Like, just because I know with like clients and orders and all that stuff, like how hard is the work-life balance then? Like no one gets it all the way right. But how does that make, with you being so accessible behind the scenes, like, is that really tough for work-life balance?
I don't think so. I've gotten in the early stages of building my law firm, it was tougher. I was, working all the time. I would work through the night if I had a trial coming up, especially, which I'll still work a lot if a trial's coming up. But
of course,
normally, I like to go home and, devote that time to my children. I've got young kids. So trying to balance that but also, as soon as they go to bed, if I've got to return a phone call, I'm making that phone call. Right. I try to be accessible to my clients. I try to be accessible to my kids and my wife. So it's tough to balance that, but I think I'm in a sweet spot now where I've kind of figured out, the system is it an emergency or can it wait till tomorrow? Or, can I call you back after the kids have gone to bed?
I'm sure early on it was fairly tempting to just pick up every time.
Oh yeah.
Because that's your life. That's how you keep the lights on it.
Yeah. To build your business, you kind of have to, right? So
what's your favorite thing about being a lawyer personally? Like what gives you, when you wake up and you drive into the office, like what is like, this is why I do it.
The people, right? So developing those relationships with people and helping them. When you can help somebody and you can see like a life-changing, whether it's a life-changing amount of money that you get to give to them at the end of the case, or, just making sure that they're taken care of and that they have someone to trust when they're going through probably one of the hardest times of their life, right? Yeah. So the unfortunate part is I don't get to see people when they're happy and everything's going great, right? We usually take on people's problems.
Yes.
But helping them navigate through that and just being able to help them and fix their problems. We can't fix every problem, but sometimes we can, make things better. And there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Right? Just getting those relationships with people, helping them.
Yeah.
That's everything.
When I was younger, when I was about probably 6 or 7 years old, I wish you were around because my stepdad actually got hit by a semi-truck.
Oh, wow.
In the driver's side, going off of 211 right by Chateau Alon, coming toward 53. And he got hit by a guy not paying attention. And right in the driver's side door, he lived. And basically what happened was what I remember, I was young, but what my mom said was that he was like, the carrier was in between insurance companies. There was like a couple of different companies, like maybe during a lapse or something.
Oh, geez.
And so the companies were fighting over who was actually liable. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was
it's funny how that happens, right?
Funny
they
how that happens.
They don't. They don't just open the pocketbooks when an accident happens.
The judge and I'm sure I'm like mixing it up because I was just young, but from what my mom was explaining, it was basically the ruling was like we were going to get paid out $750,000 was going to come out, like they were supposed to give us. But then for whatever reason, like the guy who was the driver, we had to try to find him or something, like had to hire like a private investigator to try to find him, and they never could get it resolved. I don't know all the details, but I don't think like we walked away with nothing.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that was right before 2008. So then 2008 happened. That was like a big defining.
Not compounded the problem. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm sure your brain is like that could have happened, like, but that sucked. Like I wish we had someone that cared enough to see it through, because I'm sure that was not handled 100%.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have any last tips for business owners that want to get into, say, the gifting business, or people that need to send out gifts? How can they reach you? Tell us the name of your business, first of all.
Yes, Thankful. Yep. And then you can reach me at www.thankfulgifts.net, or you can email us at info@thankfulgifts.net. But I'll just leave it like this. Like either decide you're going to handle the planning, the execution, the purchasing, the personalization of gifting, or pick someone like us. So just pick. Either I'm going to hand it over or to someone like me, or I'm going to do it myself. But whatever you do, like be intentional, make it personal, don't make it about yourself, and have fun doing it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Jordan Bruce and his wife, Kiersten Bruce, with Thankful Gifts.
Yep.
Thank you for being on the podcast. First guest.
Yeah, inauguration.
Yeah.